At this time, would everyone please rise for the national anthem sung by Mariah Rivera, and remain standing for the Negro national anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, sung by Aline Cole.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. What's up, guys? So as you can tell, this year is a little bit different. It's just your girl and a bunch of empty seats, but that's okay. You're probably at home, on your tablet, in your bed, sleeping, because I can see you, but that's all right. This year, we would usually be preparing for our Extraordinary Black History Month, getting things all ready, but again, things are a little different this year. So instead, we're going to present to you guys the significance of Black literature. We really hope you guys enjoy the show. We're keeping things a little bit simple, and yeah.
African American literature explores the issues of freedom and equality that has been long denied to Blacks in the United States. These bodies of literature delve deeper into themes such as racism, religion, slavery, feminism, and much more. These works of art have been illuminating ever since artists like Phyllis Wheatley touched the ink, to even the modern world with rappers like J. Cole touching the mic. African American writers managed to convey meaning into their work, preserving richness for future generations, even through struggle, which is what we are presenting here today. Sterling High School presents Still I Rise. The first poem is Won't You Celebrate With Me, written by Lucille Clifton, read by Leilani Franklin.
Won't you celebrate with me what I have shaped into a kind of life? I had no model. Born in Babylon, both non-white and women, what did I see to be except myself? I made it up, here on the bridges between starshine and clay, my one hand holding tight my other hand. Come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed.
Here we have Rob Carter reciting Freedom by Langston Hughes.
Freedom will not come, today, this year, nor ever, through compromise and fear. I have as much right as the other fellow has to stand on my 2 feet and on my land. I tire so of hearing people say, Let things take their course. Tomorrow is another day. I do not need my freedom when I'm dead. I cannot live on tomorrow's bread. Freedom is a strong seed, planted in a great need. I live here too. I want my freedom, just as you.
The next poem is read by Tiana Hardy, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, written by Maya Angelou.
A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to climb the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, where the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams, his shadow shout on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings for freedom.
Here we have Brotherly Love, written by Langston Hughes, said by Kayla Franklin.
A little letter to the white citizens of the South. In line of what my folks say in Montgomery, in line of what they're teaching about love, when I reach out my hand, will you take it or cut it off and leave a nub above? If I found it in my heart to love you, and if I thought I really could, if I said, brother, I forgive you, I wonder, would it do any good? So long a time you've been calling me all kinds of names, pushing me down. I've been swimming with my head deep underwater, and you wish I would stay under until I drown. But I didn't. I'm still swimming. Now you're mad because I won't ride in the back end of your bus? When I answer, anyhow, I'm gonna love you. Still and yet, you want to make a fuss. Now listen, white folks. In line with Reverend King down in Montgomery, also because the Bible says I must, I'm gonna love you. Yes, I will. Or bust.
Next up, we have Aline Cole reading Still I Rise, written by Maya Angelou.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders fallen down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard? 'Cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air, I'll rise. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream at the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
Lastly, we have a spoken word titled Sounds Like, written by FAU student graduate, read by our entire ensemble.
Someone asked me, what does history sound like? I said, history sounds like 9 months, like birth of a new life, like a soft whisper over a cradle, like a sweet melody over a tight beat. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swang. History sounds like Ella, like jazz. Even when we're beaten, black and bruised, backs bent back, barely breathing, history still sounds like the blues, like Harlem.
Like Duke, like Marcus, W.E. Du Bois, Langston, Mamie Smith, like survival, like hums, bongos, like the clicking of a railroad track. It sounds like old Negro spirituals, celebration in safe houses.
It sounds like Harriet, underground maps to a freedom land where freedom ain't so free. It sounds like 1913 and everything in between.
The beats of women marching, the banging of a glass ceiling. We walk with shards on our knuckles and in between our fists. So keep your glass slipper. A woman not supposed to do no heavy lifting. We belong in the kitchen, in the house, in the Senate, in the Oval Office.
You know, history sounds a lot like Michelle, like Shirley. Unbossed and unbought. You know, sometimes history sounds a lot like a silent moving powerhouse. It sounds a lot like the clipping of Jim Crow's wings.
It sounds like Dr. Martin Luther King, like Booker T. Washington, like the unsung heroes we don't hear much about. She sounds like Baker, Clark, Bates.
Black women who are out of this world, but stay hidden behind chalkboard. These figures are still undercalculated.
History sounds like Mansa Musa, like Benjamin Patton, like the start of new homes, new things. Like a fresh crunch, like George Crumb. Sometimes we forget that we are history. Days we wake up and don't listen to the history within us.
Days where little black boys and girls don't listen to magic pumping through their veins. Hear Kalichi, hear Christine, hear Azib.
The 30 under 30 history sounds a lot like you, the beautiful, black, and gifted you.
Well, that concludes the presentation, Still I Rise, where we wanted to present to you Black literature. Now, hopefully some of you are familiar with some of these poems, and if you're not, we hope that you enjoyed it. Nonetheless, I think the kids always do a good job. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah, I do too. Afterwards, we decided to get together and have a little small group on our exposure to Black literature and then also issues of equity in the school. We want to welcome you guys to view this last part with us. If you feel comfortable having a conversation about equity in your own classrooms, feel free to do so. If you would like to make a writing prompt out of it, feel free to do so. If you would like to leave it alone and you're not okay with that, that's fine too. But we wanted to present you guys some of our conversations, and we hope that you enjoy ours. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Good night. We're at the end of our show, and I think that was a pretty good show. What do you guys think? Can we snap it up for? Good. You guys have your masks. Is it good to be seeing some faces in public and in this scene? Yeah. It's a little different not having the Black History Month assembly out there. Yeah. Okay. So our assembly was about Black literature. We said, "Still I Rise," like Maya Angelou's poem. Still she rises through all of those struggles, through all of those events. She still rises, right? And we wanted to celebrate Black literature. So in looking at Black literature, how much Black literature have you been exposed to over your career in education? Or your time, this short time you've had in education?
Definitely not a lot.
Not a lot. No.
Not a lot?
Like usually only during Black History Month is when like that's a main focus.
Yeah. Now, we talked about equity, right? Does anybody know, or can someone tell me what equity is? Lee?
It's the tools, like making sure everyone has the tools they need to succeed.
Now, why do you think it is important that we get more at Black literature as it pertains to equity?
Me.
Sure, anyone.
I kind of mentioned this before, but I feel like it expands our knowledge on what we're capable of, because there's so many Black writers and poets out there, but we don't know about them until like it's time like this. But even sometimes we don't get to really learn about them in the light we should. So when I look at these writers, well, obviously you know like what I want to do now, but when I look at them, I'm like, wow, I could have done that. I could be a writer. When you read their poems, like, oh, I can relate to this. I've gone through this. But not a lot of people see that because we don't have that much exposure on it.
So you say it might be like a little dream deferred, right? Anyone else care to share? Or have any thoughts on it?
I think what Aline said was like really good because like, yeah, when like, if you don't hear a lot about like black writers and stuff, like a lot of people may not be like, oh, like it may make people feel like, oh, like black writers don't make it. Like if I wanted to do that, I'm not gonna make it because I'm not I'm not represented. Like people don't see my work because they don't think I can do it. So putting more black writers out there will definitely help people like see that, oh look, this person did it, you can too. Don't stop chasing your dream just because you don't see it.
Ooh, I like that. Can we snap it up for that one? That was good. That was good, right? So even we see, like you said, that I don't want to stop my dream. Like we're all familiar with Amanda Gorman, right? Can we snap it up a little bit for Amanda Gorman? It was nice seeing her, at the inauguration, and you could say as part of that's somebody that I can maybe aspire to be like.
Yeah, like
Right.
it definitely is like seeing her like up on that stage definitely like put the like in my head and probably a lot of other people's heads like, oh look, she got so far, she made it, like I can do it too.
So think about it. Amanda Gorman, when we talked about, can I be that person? Maya Angelou was another woman who spoke, at an inauguration. She was able to give one of her poems. Does anybody know how Amanda Gorman paid homage to Maya Angelou in her speech or with her presence?
She had the bird cage, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Ajane, let's go with you.
I think she wore something to relate to I know why the bird sings and her poem.
Yes.
So I noticed that and I
And-
thought that was really nice.
And that's one of the poems we read today. I know why the cave bird sings, and she paid homage to Maya Angelou with that, right? So to kind of wrap this up, because we want classes, or we want to be able to facilitate some discussion. Why is it important to see others represented, not yourself, in literature? So why is it important to see other races or other groups and sexes and genders? Why is it important to see them represented, not just yourself? Yes.
I think it's important because it allows people to, show what they went through, and people can relate to different struggles. Everybody comes from a different struggle. So if you see somebody you can relate to personally, you could probably, be like, oh, if they made it themselves, I can make it or something along those lines.
Can we one more time? That's awesome. That's awesome. Anyone else care to share? Any other thoughts? Yes, Asha.
I think it's important that everyone feels included
Hmm.
in what's going on because you see yourself doing in these in literature or in anything, you may feel like, well, I'm good, so what's wrong with it? But you also have to have some empathy for others and also care about how others feel and how others are being portrayed.
And we can hear that by when people use their voice to speak out. Last year's assembly was Lift Every Voice, and through this, people use their voice through literature to be able to communicate how they feel and maybe their struggles, and there's beauty in that struggle because it can help someone else.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I don't want to take too much of the time. I know we're constrained. We only have about 20 minutes for the whole assembly. So thank you guys for participating, right? And actually, one more thing. Is there anything that you think teachers could do to help provide more equity in the school? Yes.
I think keeping us informed about what's going on. Like I remember one day in one of my classes after the storming of the Capitol.
Okay.
My one teacher, she gave us the floor and let us all talk about it throughout the class.
Wow.
It helped us, get our thoughts out there, express how we felt, and I guess pretty sure it made some people feel better.
In a safe environment.
Yeah.
Good. Anyone else? I think that's a good point, right? Just have the teachers maybe listen more or give you the opportunity so that they can hear maybe some of your struggles or things that may bother you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I especially because I feel like at home, like people's home lives, like political stuff and maybe
Touch
just
the subject.
yeah, but not like that.
Okay.
Your parents' views may not be your views.
Okay.
And that could be really silencing if your parents don't agree with what you agree. So just giving kids a chance to talk about, because we're all old enough to understand what's going on in the world.
So just giving kids like a chance to talk about like what's going on is definitely like would be a good thing. Or like providing us with more, you know, what's the word? Diverse writers. Because like we read the same books every year. Every year, like the same. Every time everybody moves up a grade, you know what book you're gonna read.
Okay.
Maybe spice it up. Throw a different author in there, of a different ethnicity or a different race, so that it's something different. Or gender.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that it's something different, so that people see like themselves represented.
Good. Well, I think we have enough. I like to talk a lot, so I'm going to end on this one. Snap me off on this one. All right, guys, you were great. Thank you.